Hello everyone, Sunson.Toon, welcome to another mod review, this time on Colored Lights. A mod that simply adds in the ability for you to use certain light sources, and instead of it being on a different type of, in a different way, where it would use a lot more memory, it instead calculates the light colors for each chunk and smoothly blends it. So pretty much what that means, as far as I can tell, is if you put, say, for example, a sea lantern or a redstone torch. I haven't come across a torch or glowstone having any different lighting from what I've tested. But a sea lantern and redstone torch will pretty much give off a different light color, and you'll see it sort of go around the room or the area, as you can see here. Redstone torches have a bit of a red tint to them, and the sea lantern has a bit of a blue or a green, sort of. Yep, just had to make sure with turning the night light off so I can tell the difference. Glowstone and others do have, obviously, their typical sort of color, I think. But, yeah, the others have a more different type, rather than just, you know, having the same lighting for each light source block, of course. You can also add additional things to change it. So you've got a replace here, which is a true or false. You can set, obviously, the color. And this will be whatever on the color spectrum. Obviously, that's the hex code there. For obviously, redstone torches and lava are there. To modify them, you have to do it inside a JSON file under assets. So that's if you know where assets is. It's not going to be in your typical config folder right here. It's not like, okay, just create one, or the mod creates one for you. There is not one generated at all. If you know where the assets folder is, then you know exactly what to do. I don't, so I'm not going to be able to show that, unfortunately. Okay, it is with the resource pack, that's why. So if you know how to create a resource pack and do all that, then you should be fine. You can just add this in. I don't know if you can add additional ones underneath each other and just keep applying, like, you know, redstone torch, lava, sea lantern, glowstone, this, that, the other, and change it, but I assume it may be that simple. But yeah, we'll just do this in a default way for now, and I'll just show you what's possible. So if we just use a sea lantern here in the corner, you can see the lighting difference. We can use, say, for example, glowstone on this side, which I think is like your typical lighting color, or maybe a bit changed. We've got our soul torch, which is similar to the sea lantern somewhat, except just a bit weaker, I think. We've got our torch, which again is similar to our glowstone, I think, pretty much, just in item, or a smaller form. Redstone torches obviously give off a red light. Sort of there, at least I'm pretty sure, red or orange. Okay, with the nightlight it changes completely, so that's something I'm experiencing then, that's a bit different. Or it's very minimal. Again, with lighting it's very particular. I'm going to change that just in case I didn't turn Bluetooth on. Okay, so yeah, that is very noticeably different than when the nightlight's on. So yeah, it's very minimal. But it's still there. Obviously that's because it's in the corner. If we put it here, it's slightly different. You can try putting this outside and it won't really be noticeable. So you do want to put it mostly in dark areas to add a bit more to it. I mean, you can see the coverage and it's still slightly there, but it's much more noticeable in darkness. Where it, for one, stretches a lot further, as well as, you know, can have its own coverage rather than, you know, having to deal with the normal light outside. So yeah, if we do this, for example, in another area, in say a cave system somewhere, a ravine will be a good enough test, I guess, besides lava and how lighting works with that. So nothing too out of the ordinary there. So just go creative. Just put a few of these down. Interesting. Okay, so the lava maybe does work. Or at least it changes the... Okay, maybe it's just me. That's kind of just... conflicting with it. It's not actually illuminating it right. But yeah, obviously, by default, I assume the strength of the light is very... Or the color of it is very, very slight. But if you wanted to expand upon it with the hex code, you could... with a resource pack. But if you just want the default, they do give off a good enough coverage, as well as obviously a good enough strength for color there. But yeah, I guess that's about it for just covering the default, because obviously a resource pack will offer a lot more and can be expanded upon in many different ways. But yeah, very much in dark areas you're going to want to use this the most with its default strength, rather than elsewhere. In water, I don't think we're getting anything too different there. Maybe a little bit, but not too much. We can do this bit here. Yeah, certain areas it's very noticeable, whilst others, that's more typical, whilst that's slightly there. But that is pretty much it. Just changes lighting based on sort of where you've placed it. Can be expanded upon with a resource pack, like I've said many times now. There is also a replace option as well, which is obviously if it's for the color, replacing it or doing other things. And performance is minimal, so it doesn't use a lot more memory than it typically would to do this sort of thing. I don't know how much is actually being impacted by any of these, but either way I'd say it's probably not too bad. We just fly out of here for a second, besides the world generation. Don't think memory changes are going to be there, because it's mostly considered the chunks, maybe? I think that's probably why. We'll just stay here for a bit and see if it drops down at all. Frame rate I'm not fussed with, but just memory at least, because of how much is there. Yeah, it's probably just normal. But either way, thanks so much for watching, and goodbye.